Welcome, dear friends. We're going to begin today our special release for us. Let us begin with a message. When we read this message, the goal is to bring ourselves fully here. And because it's all about our inner disposition. If our bodies are here and our minds are elsewhere, no matter if Jesus is here, nothing's going to happen. Because we need to have mind and body mindful together. It's a practice. So the reading helps us be united here. And Mr. John is going to help us.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Spirits Society of Virginia here on Sunday at 11 a.m. Today's message is from our daily bread. I'm going to make sure that is it. Number 117, and the title is In the Family. Paul, first letter to Timothy, chapter 5, verse 4, wrote, "Learn first of all to be caring towards your own family and to repay your parents, for this is pleasing to God." Then Emmanuel writes through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Javier, "The family struggle is a fundamental problem in human redemption. How can we be benefactors for 100 or even 1,000 people if we have not yet learned to serve 5 or 10? This is a logical question that applies to all sincere disciples of Christianity. Good preacher and bad servant are two titles that do not go together. The apostle recommends being caring amid household activities. However, he is not referring to the caring that weeps without courage when faced with afflictive challenges, but the caring that recognizes problematic areas in the home and strives to eliminate them, awaiting the divine determination at the right time. We know of many brothers and sisters who feel spiritually alone amongst persons connected to their personal group through blood ties, and who, as a result, become very discouraged. It is crucial, however, to examine these temporary corporeal bonds and realize that there are no casual unions in the family household, a place where, for the time being, saving and regenerating trials prevail. Thus, no one should disdain the sacred opportunity of service, even if overwhelmed by incomprehension. It would be a grave wrong to overlook the infinite possibilities of this illuminating endeavor. We cannot possibly help the whole world if we cannot be useful in a little home where the Father's will has temporarily placed us. Before making a great personal contribution to worldwide service, disciples should learn to work on behalf of their family members right now, knowing that such an effort represents an essential achievement. And this message is linked very well with today's message. And it's also linked very well with what Daisy read and gave the message last night at 6 p.m. for the prayer. Number 77 in the same book, Our Daily Bread, calling to respond. And what was so important in this message was what to say in our family, and when to say it, and how to say it. So very important. And of course, it's extremely important in our family because we let our guards down usually in our family. When we go outside of our family, we're a lot more aware of how we talk and interact with people. We know exactly sometimes how to do it. But in the family, we let things down, and this is what causes so many of the problems in the family. Because we become overly sensitive, unfortunately. So let us always heed the family, as this message encourages us to hone our skills within the family so that we're even better outside the family.
let us pray and connect with the loving and kind spirits, dear spirit directors of the Spirit the Society of Virginia, loving and kind guardian angels of all of us, whom in the name of God care for us, guide us. We want to express our gratitude. We no longer want to be ungrateful, taking for granted so much that we have received. We rejoice with the opportunity of learning together and being treated in our deepest needs. We would like to think of those who were not able to come, loved ones who can't really come, either because they live elsewhere or they are blocked by any condition that restricts their lives. We visualize them being part in this banquet. May today be a day in which we leave our selfishness and invest on the good. We ask for your guidance, feeling your protection, dear Lord, as you grant us the permission to begin this therapeutic session in your name and love, and so be it. And so our dear Daisy is going to take our children to the next room. Yes, please. And we're going to learn something with Ben Franklin. Meanwhile, we'll be here. Yes. This is the first time ever that we dedicate to this topic, which is about siblings. Because we usually talk about parents and children and couples, but we rarely address the specificity about the relationship amongst our brothers, sisters in the family. For those who are the only child, they can think of their cousins, which is kind of a sibling in a way. So if you're an only child, think of your cousins and the relationships. When we thought about this, the first thing that the mentors suggested is, since we are in the US, to think of the Wright brothers. Of course, we want to begin with successful partnerships. But you know, they were not twins. They were years apart from each other. They were two of seven. Their father was a bishop. They traveled a lot. And that's the interesting thing about shortening distances. And together, though they think they were 7 years apart, they joined forces and made our lives different. No matter if we Brazilians say that Santos Dumont is also the father of aviation, I think they belong to the same group. And undoubtedly, the Wright brothers did what they had to do, and we owe them a great deal, showing to us the power of this brotherhood, the true brotherhood in the family. Of course, this is not sometimes the rule, but shows to us that it happens. If we look at history, we're going to see that they were very persistent in their attempts. They were geniuses in their purpose. And the beauty of it all is about their togetherness, how they worked in a teamwork fashion. In America, we value much the power of one, the individual. And that's beautiful. But we also value the power of teamwork and collaboration. In science alone, I learned a great deal. The main word in science in the US is collaboration. And that's why our science thrives in the world, because of collaboration. Unlike spiritual circles in the US that insist in empowering one medium, one person, one spiritual leader, unlike Spiritism. In Spiritism, we don't believe in that. We believe in the power of teamwork. It's not about one person, the one leadership, it's about a teamwork effort. No wonder Brazil became the most powerful Spiritist nation, because there is this great power of teamwork in spirituality. The day we merge that in the US, we're done. So it depends on us here, who are here now, to learn how to teamwork, to learn how to blend in, how to be more of a spiritual group than trying to be unique, outstanding elsewhere. So they inspire us, the Wright brothers, in this togetherness. Together, they went places, literally, and still bring us places, wherever we go. Siblings in general, when they get along because of their ties of friendship, because of their collaboration, because of their mutual care. So these are the features that we find out when siblings are harmonious. But historically, if we go back to the Genesis, it's history of humanity there in the Bible, and we see, unfortunately, we don't see the Wright brothers story repeating itself. On the contrary, we see siblings betraying, cheating, killing one another. Joseph of Egypt was one of the cases, the son of Jacob and Rachel. He was betrayed by his brothers because they were jealous of him, because the father Jacob showed preference. And here's a highlight. If we parents show preference, children pick up, and then we'll be mainly responsible for their struggles amongst themselves. And that's what happened to Joseph. He was pretty much sold to slavery back then, and he was kept captive until one day he was a prophet. He could interpret dreams. He was a medium. So he unveiled the mystery of the dream of one of the guards, and the guards told the Pharaoh, who had dreams he couldn't decode. He said, well, this guy back there, he knows. He was brought to the Pharaoh. And what he revealed was what we know. He saved the Egyptian empire from famine. So he became the governor of Egypt with the Pharaoh. But one day, in spite of the brothers' jealousy, one day, running away from famine, they came to the very doors of the brother they didn't know that became the governor of Egypt, and he forgave them all. So he really became an example of indulgence, an example of forgiveness, an example for us on how to heal jealousy with active forgiveness. So if we go back to humankind's history, we see the traits of jealousy, envy, spite, and the struggle among siblings, triggered sometimes by parents' preference. And then in this case, successfully, thanks to a good heart, everything was overcome. But not necessarily things end up in a beautiful way like this in the same life. If we go to the book Sex and Destiny, which is a true account, though the names are changed, it happens in the city of Rio de Janeiro, but it could be in any city in the world. We have the story of two sisters, Marina here, smoking, and Marita. There's other spirits, Andrea Luis and Pedro Neves. If you read the whole story, we'll see the drama of two families because Marina, the sister, stole the fiancé of the sister, the other sister. And she was also having an affair with the father of the fiancé. Don't judge, but it's amazing what she did. The story goes on and on and on till Marita doesn't have an inner support. They have no religion in the family. They have no spirituality. They were not spiritists or Catholics or anything. They simply led their lives by material things. She wanted to kill herself because her fiancé was taken by the sister. She didn't succeed, but she was caught into an accident, a car accident, and weeks later she dies. But God is so merciful that later brings her back. You see, Marita dies. Marina gets married to the fiancé. So I'll point here. Okay. So this is Marina married to the former fiancé of Marita, and Marita reincarnated as the daughter of the sister who stole her fiancé. There's more story than that. This is just a piece of it. So who are our siblings? Who are our parents? Who are the people in our lives? We have history with them. But this envy was healed by reincarnation. Do we want to wait till a next life and then we think we're going to be far away from those, but we won't? We won't. We want to run away? You bet. Those are the people who will be the closest. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 14, item 8, Kardec says, the spirits who incarnate in the same family, especially among close relatives, are most often sympathetic spirits, connected by previous relationships that are expressed by their mutual affection during their earthly life. Nevertheless, it may also happen that such spirits are complete strangers to one another, divided by past lives' antipathies that are now expressed as animosity to serve as a trial. And sometimes it's not black and white like this. Because sometimes we love that sibling, but we have some resistance as well. Why? Because we were friends before, We did things together, and then suddenly that friendship, that relationship fell apart. So now we resent. We love, but we resent. We need to heal. We cannot escape. Escaping means coming back together and closer, closer, and closer than we imagine. If we go to another case, who are siblings? The book The Messengers has several cases of reincarnation. Reincarnations in which people are prepared to reincarnate. There's the case, amongst many, of Octavio, this man who is talking to Andre Luis and other ladies, and he's saying, the one far right in the picture, he's saying how he failed in his previous reincarnation. He was supposed to, he came in a spiritist family, caring family, good parents, and at some point, the father was going to pass away, and he was supposed to care for 6 siblings, who were, by the way, great friends in the spiritual realm. He was supposed to be the elderly brother taking care of them, and they not only would help him later in life, that's the reincarnatory plan, but they would have a specific role in the Brazilian politics. But Octavio was very proud of himself, very selfish. And when the mother of the children needed his help, he said, I'm not going to help. I'm not going to forget about my life. He was not supposed to get married. He got married to a wife that was very mean, selfish, just like him. And he had a son who was in the description of Andrea Luiz, a monster, character-wise. He died quite young, in his 40s, due to his sexual deviations and failing from A to Z in the reincarnatory plan of that life, leaving those 6 siblings astray. This morning, I was reading the news, and in India, in Mumbai, there was this girl who was found after almost 10 years of being kidnapped. How did it all begin? She had 2 brothers, and they were walking to school. She was only 7. They were walking to school, and they had an argument. The brother said, he was older than her, she was only 7, said, okay, left her behind. Said, I'm going to school. Left her. A couple came along, lured her with ice cream, kidnapped her for 9 years. She describes the misery of her years in that environment. A couple that couldn't have children until they had a son, and they started treating the kidnapped girl as a maid, beating her, mistreating her. One day, she was talking to somebody and found a way to ask for help. And these days, she finally was brought back to her family. Where did it all begin? When her brother didn't care for the sister. It just takes one day, not 2, 3, 4, 5. And the siblings were simply left by Octavio to the fate of their destiny. If we go to the book Laws of Love, Emmanuel says to us, this book is not published in English yet, but will. He says in a beautiful chapter about healing ourselves from within, and he talks about in chapter 7, question and answer 7. It's all questions and answers. He talks about difficult relationships in the family and clarify to us, what is this all about? Are we victims? And that's the number one thing we need to do, to stop this victimization. Because when we feel like a victim before anyone, we're feeling entitled. And what does that mean? Pride. You owe me something. You're not giving me something. Well, actually, they say we need to overcome these difficult relationships in the family with fraternal understanding and needed adjustments in compassion and help. Let's say we have to make our bed. And then we say, siblings, we sleep in the same bed. Oh, they have to do it. I didn't do it. It's common, right? I didn't do it. They did it. Okay. But did you do your share? Maybe they are not doing well, because when a person is happy, you wake up, you make your bed, you fix breakfast, you're joyful. And then if we don't feel like this, we look at the person and say, are you well? Maybe that person's not well. We'll give them a break. Maybe they need some time. Maybe they are holding resentments of something. We create stories in our minds that sometimes are totally unrealistic because we have expectations, assumptions. We always expect people to fulfill our needs, forgetting that they are a mind of their own. And then we feel oversensitive. And then we create problems where there shouldn't be any problem. So the bottom line for us, it's very straightforward. The daily remedy is, and this comes from the book Sex and Destiny, in a chapter we're going to study much later on Friday, which is titled Aversions, and Emmanuel says to Chico Xavier, we need 2 remedies to resolve the problems among siblings. The important support of religious faith that brings relief and therapy. Share is care. It's not a saying, it's true. Teaching our children, but first of all, doing it ourselves. Sharing. And saying sometimes you give even the best pencil to your brother or sister instead of the reverse, like, oh, I'll keep the best pencil and I'll give you the one I don't like much. Teaching them, enjoy giving something that you don't even have. You need to practice it. Bring our children to stores and buy gifts that they will give to kids that they don't have themselves. Oh, but that's cruel. No, that's a practice. It's a training. I remember doing this first time with Virginia, and she was like, but Mom, I don't have it. Good. You don't have to have it just because your friend is going to get it. Is it easy? No, and no matter how hard we try, as the good spirits say, if the parents did everything they could and the children are still proud and selfish, it's their business, not ours. Because at the end of the day, we did our best. But we can't stop this just because they are not getting it. Effort, repetition, effort, repetition, effort, repetition. Just like Kumon, right? That's what I've heard, right? It's like, why do I have to do it all again? Because the more you do, the more you learn, right? The more you repeat, you master it. And then when people ask you, like, oh, I know, 4 times 6, 24, in a split second, you know, that's easy, right? It's easy because we practiced. Or we would be 4 times 6. An hour went by, 4 times 6 doesn't result in anything. It's essential to love and forgive, understand and serve, and many times as necessary so that suffering and dissension disappear. So here comes the training. The training is forgive and forget, forgive and forget, forgive and forget, forgive and forget, forgive and forget. I remember we were 5, my grandmother would repeat often to us. We wouldn't be allowed to be in discord amongst ourselves. It's not a child thing. Not because we're siblings, we have to fight. No, we don't have to fight because we're siblings. We have to enjoy our company and make partnerships that are strong, that help society, like the Wright brothers. Or we're sabotaging ourselves. It's the plan of God that we're together for something greater than ourselves. It would be fruitless for us to keep investing in something that is so barbaric. These duels among siblings. They are not funny, and at the end of the day, they hurt people's self-esteem. Why are children killing people in schools? They are not loved. The parents, the grandparents, society, and the siblings who are bullying the kids in their homes. No, it's not funny to say, oh, you're ugly. No, it's cruel. It's not funny to say, oh, you're dumb. It's not, no, that's not what siblings do. There, we love more than the people we don't know. It's not funny to hurt our siblings in the name of being a child or a teenager or just a brother and sister. Because I know the bullying begins in the home. And that's cruelty. Bullying is cruel. If you don't agree with the brother and sister, don't say anything. Don't hurt people's feelings. And sometimes we do it passive-aggressively by sabotaging a party that they are throwing in the name of something in the family. So either directly or indirectly, we need to stop that suffering in the family. There are consequences. Like this girl. Imagine those 9 years away from the family, being mistreated. Who is co-responsible for that suffering? The brother. Because he was supposed to care and he didn't care. And those relationships we have in the family will dictate later our relationships with romantic partners. If we are an only child, let us think of our relationships with our cousins as a portrait of that. Are we still competing, jealous, envious, feeling spite? Because that's primitive. We are at a day and age that we are being called to unite family members. We don't need to change their minds, but just understand, serve, love, and forgive, and never give up. Even if we visit them 1,000,000 times and we're stoned 1,000,000 times, we'll never give up visiting. We'll never give up hugging. We'll never give up. Even if we're back and we tell our friends, I'm frustrated. But we'll keep praying for them. We'll keep investing on them. We'll keep texting them. We'll keep calling them. We'll keep trying our best until one day both sides say, you know, we love one another. That's it. That's all that matters. To finalize, because this is only Jesus to help us. Indeed, wars begin in the families. So let us put a stop in the wars by beginning with our families. We're going to watch this beautiful clip by Jesus when he was teaching us about the power of forgiveness as the main therapy for happy relationships. Let me just make sure that, sorry, that the friends over there are going to be listening. I have to stop for a second. Sorry, Jesus. The sound's not coming through. Or is it, Carl? No, right? No worry. We'll try 70 times. Okay, let me see why.
Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. And the servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him, and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet, and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison, till he should pay the debt. So, when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their lord all that was done. Then his lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt because thou desirest me. Shouldst not thou have also had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother that trespasses.
Right. So Jesus said it all. And that's how it begins. The therapy is forgiveness because we make mistakes, our siblings make mistakes. But when we forgive, we forget. We don't go back 30 years later and say, do you remember when you pushed me off and I fell in the pool and I hurt myself? And I mean, it's over. 30 years have passed. It's over. You don't go back, rewinding the tape. You forgive and forget and you move on. So forgiveness is the only key. And it's an invitation for us. We're going to repeat here as we're talking about this therapeutic exercise. We're going to remind on Friday, when we were in the study session, Daisy was sharing with us something we learned recently with scholars in Brazil, that a wise woman named Corina Novellino, she advised a woman who was having a hard time with her siblings, family members, to practice this 5-minute forgiveness prayer meditation every day. She said, like, she did it, this woman did it in the shower. Like, she would, you can't escape, right? You're showering. And you're like, think of the person saying, I forgive you, please forgive me, I forgive you, please forgive me. This is energy we're emanating. And then we're cleansing the heart. We need to become civilized people. Civilization is not about technology. It's about the capacity to be human. Not animals. Animals are reactive. You hurt, they hurt in their turn to defend themselves. We're not animals. We need to grow above animals and be humans. Humans forgive, understand, help, love, serve with consciousness. Animals can serve, not with consciousness though. So we're being asked to do the ultimate challenge of making sense of our relationships at home, in our families, and heal. Healing those relationships will bring healing to the rest of our lives, in our relationships with other people as well. Sometimes we project that frustration with our siblings into relationships at work, in our romantic relationships. So if we heal there, we can be healed in other relationships too, and strive in our relationships. Let us calibrate our reincarnatory plan. Let us accept and stop this saying, what have I done? Why am I in this family? For us spiritists, it doesn't make any sense to say that. We may be strangers, but in reality, we're not. The good spirits have spoken. They brought us to the reasoning, and Jesus topped it with a very parable, and we're invited to this healing. So we're now going to pass to the passes. Till September, we're doing the spiritual passes alone. Let us visualize the very master with us as we play the virtual passes. Thank you, Rajani.
Welcome to the Virtual Passes Room. Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, once stated that thought is life. Thus, we can create the healing mental state right here and now. In preparation for the virtual passes, we would kindly recommend the following. Be certain that you have a real need to receive passes. Do not use the room simply out of curiosity. Casual visits to the room will negate its future benefits when needed. When using the room, have gratitude and show respect as you would when visiting a physical spiritist center. During the passes, silently evoke God's protection as well as Jesus. Also pray to your guardian angel. Concentrate on positive thoughts, thereby avoiding negative ones. Breathe deeply, slowly, calmly, and confidently. Always be ready to pray. Let us begin this passes session by praying as our guide and model, Jesus Christ, has taught us with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now, let us feel that small points of suffering, bitterness, sadness, anger, deception, disappear from your mind to not return. Like aged leaves that are shed from trees, let go of those feelings that no longer serve you. And gently, but most assuredly, discard them. Let the wind of life carry them so far away that they are unable to return and recreate their negative link. Little by little, your emotional tree sheds its negative feelings, becoming clean and ready for its renovation. Without the weight of those dead leaves, you feel lighter and are able to feel the gentle water of life now abundantly falling onto your physical body, spiritual body, and soul. This water cleans, disinfects, purifies, deconstructs, and tones all the cells of your body. Nothing can escape its renewing action. At the same time it is cleaning and moisturizing your body, this crystalline liquid satiates your spirit, eliminating affliction, anxiety, and unrest. Now within your heart resides a sense of calmness, cleanness, and well-being. Then the light of God emerges to warm and snuggle you, while caring rays penetrate your whole body and tenderly embrace you like a maternal hug, which brings comfort and safety to your heart. At this moment, great love warms your heart and removes the coldness resulting from any affliction. Now, your mind contains only feelings of joy and confidence. You are at peace and enveloped by a protective warmth. The heart of life offers you perfumed flowers. Then, with a grateful and happy soul, you gather their colorful petals that penetrate your whole being, restoring feelings and emotions of happiness, hope, faith, courage, and determination, helping you to regain the willingness to live. In addition to the perfume and color, nature also shares with you the best it has to offer, an infinite capacity for restoring its sublime beauty, even when struck by evil that appears to enact its end. Divine hands full of light gently overflow and spill over you like a golden waterfall of unspeakable and unknown essence. Little by little, your soul is impregnated with sweet happiness, allowing an inner renewal of the most noble and elevated purposes, that of progress and accomplishment. Showered by this sublime power, you deeply surrender to the donor of light, absorbing energy that now gives your life a new and blessed impulse. You called me, and here I am. What do you want from me today? What do you need? Ask, my son. Ask, my daughter. I am here to help. Now, ask your special request to Jesus, enumerating the problems and difficulties that afflict you. I listen to your request with love and attention. Now I count on your faith and trust in me to solve your problems. Go in peace. I am watching over you, and I will not lose sight of you. Believe in God and also believe in me. I will be with you every day until the end. Be happy. Many blessings.
We're going to do the prayer. We thank you, Master Jesus, for teaching us ways of healing. We bless our past, the experiences, the lack of awareness. But now, seeing more clearly and accepting the lives we were given, we want to dedicate this prayer to our siblings, visualizing flowers of healing and love being offered to each one of them. We visualize ourselves with you and them, all of us together in an embrace of true fraternity. May we boost our loving care for one another. May we think more of the general good and less of our individual good, which is often fleeting and illusory. We visualize ourselves embraced by one another in you, offering from the deepest recesses of our hearts kindness and a helping hand. Thank you for our families, for the learning experiences, and for this most special therapeutic moment. And so be it. All right. If you have any question or comment, feel free to talk to us again. Okay? We have our water. It has remedies in it. Let us drink it with intention, taking it home. For those who are with us over the internet, a big hug to all of you. Should you have any question or comment, feel free to ask us through the chat.